You know that feeling, right? It's late at night, you're standing in front of the fridge. You know you shouldn't, but man, you need something sweet. Or maybe it's that mid-afternoon slump at work where you're convinced only a cookie can save you. It's a feeling we all know, this intense pull toward sugar. And for years, we've been told it's all about willpower. But what if it's not? What if this fight isn't just in your head? What if it's a secret war being fought inside your body, driven by biology that's millions of years old?
And let's be honest, it's an easy war to feel like you're losing. You do great all day, you make all the right choices, and then, bam, a craving hits you like a tidal wave. It's so easy to feel like it's a personal failure, you know? Like you just weren't strong enough. But I want you to think about this. Maybe you haven't lost, because maybe you've been fighting the wrong enemy this whole time.
So let's just get this out in the open. That powerful urge for sugar isn't some kind of character flaw. It's a complex, deeply ingrained biological signal. Your body is trying to send you a message, and it's using the language of cravings to get your attention. So today, we're going to decode that message. We're going to pull back the curtain and see what's really pulling the strings.
All right, first up, let's talk about culprit number one, and it's something we're all a little too familiar with: stress. A deadline at work, a tense conversation, just the insane pace of modern life. Stress is everywhere. But here's the thing. Our body's reaction to all this modern, psychological pressure, it's anything but modern. It's an ancient survival program that can totally hijack our best intentions. The fight-or-flight response. We've all heard the term, but let's really think about it. It's a genius piece of evolutionary programming. See, when your brain perceives a threat, and it doesn't matter if it's a saber-toothed tiger back in the day or 100 unread emails right now, it sounds an alarm. The problem is, this ancient system doesn't really know the difference between a physical danger and a mental one. To your body, stress is stress, and its number one job is to get you ready to either fight for your life or run like heck.
So let's walk through how this ancient program plays out in our modern world. First, that stressor hits. Your adrenal glands get the signal and, bam, they pump out adrenaline and cortisol. These guys are your body's first responders. Their job is to get you energy and fast. So they tell your liver to dump its stored sugar, glucose, right into your bloodstream. Instant fuel. Now, if you were actually running from a tiger, you'd burn all that energy up, but you're probably just sitting at your desk fuming. So after the stress dies down, your brain, thinking it just ran a marathon, sends out an urgent memo. We need to refuel, now. And what's the fastest fuel it knows? Yep, sugar.
But wait, it gets even more complicated. It's not just that your brain is confused. Those very same stress hormones, especially cortisol, have another sneaky side effect. They actually cause something called insulin resistance. Basically, they make it harder for the hormone insulin to do its job, which is to get all that sugar out of your blood and into your cells where it can be used. So you get this nasty double whammy. You've got a flood of sugar in your blood that your body can't properly use, and a brain that's still screaming for fuel. That creates a powerful, almost irresistible craving for something sweet.
Okay, so stress is a huge piece of the puzzle, but it's not the only hidden force at work. We need to go a little deeper, into a place that science is just now starting to fully appreciate: your gut. We tend to think of it as just a plumbing system, right? But it is so much more than that. It's a bustling metropolis of trillions of tiny microbes, and believe it or not, they are constantly talking to your brain.
This communication network has a name: the gut-brain axis. I want you to picture a superhighway with information flowing back and forth 24/7. Your gut is, in many ways, a second brain. It produces its own neurotransmitters, it communicates with hormones, and it sends signals straight up to your brainstem. And the trillions of bacteria living in there, your microbiome, are some of the most important drivers on that highway. They can influence your mood, your immune system, and yeah, even what you're craving for lunch.
And this isn't just some vague theory. Recent studies have found a ridiculously specific way this works. So check this out. Scientists noticed that people with a big sweet tooth tended to have lower levels of a specific gut bacteria called B. vulgaris. Now, it turns out this little microbe produces a really important compound, pantothenate. You might know it as vitamin B5. This vitamin then helps regulate special receptors in your gut. So follow the logic here. Less of the good bacteria means less of the vitamin, which means those gut receptors don't work right. And here's the kicker. When those specific receptors don't work right, it's been directly linked to, you guessed it, wanting more sugar. Your gut bacteria can literally put in a food order to your brain.
Now, after hearing about our ancient stress response and our gut bacteria calling the shots, it might feel a little overwhelming, like we don't have any control. But what's so cool about biology is that for every problem, it often provides a solution. So now we're going to pivot and look at a fascinating natural intervention, a plant that shows how we can work with our biology instead of just fighting against it.
Long before we had fancy labs that could measure cortisol or map out a microbiome, practitioners of Ayurveda in India had already zeroed in on a very special plant. They called it gurmar. And for almost 2,000 years, they've been using its leaves for all sorts of things, especially related to how the body handles sugar.
The plant's scientific name is Gymnema sylvester, but its traditional Hindi name, gurmar, is way more telling. It literally translates to destroyer of sugar. I mean, come on, what an incredible name, right? It tells you everything you need to know about this plant's unique and pretty amazing ability to mess with how we perceive and process sweetness.
So how does this sugar destroyer actually pull it off? Well, it launches a multi-pronged attack. First, and this is the most famous part, its active compounds physically block the sweet taste receptors right on your tongue. Sugar literally stops tasting sweet. It's wild. But it goes so much deeper than just your taste buds. It actually works on a metabolic level. Research shows that it appears to help regenerate the very cells in your pancreas that produce insulin. It also helps increase the secretion of insulin, which helps fight back against that resistance we talked about from stress. And to top it all off, it can even help block glucose from being absorbed in your intestine, stopping that sharp blood sugar spike before it even starts.
Okay, so an amazing plant like gurmar shows us that these biological levers exist, but real, lasting control isn't about just one thing. It's about building a whole toolkit of daily strategies that support your biology from the ground up. This last section is all about the practical, actionable things you can do based on all the science we just covered to help you reclaim that control and finally start winning the war for your sweet tooth.
First up, your diet. And this isn't about restriction, it's all about strategy. The plate method is a super powerful way to manage your blood sugar. Before you even think about carbs, start your meal with fiber and protein. You know, a salad, some broccoli, a piece of chicken. This creates a kind of buffer in your stomach that slows everything down. Add in some healthy fats from avocado or olive oil, and you slow it down even more. The whole point is to prevent that massive glucose spike and the crash that follows, which is what triggers that desperate call for more sugar. And hey, don't be scared of fruit. The fiber in a whole apple or a handful of berries acts like a natural brake, making sure the sugar is released slowly and steadily.
Now, beyond your plate, your lifestyle is your #1 tool for managing the root causes. Remember that whole stress-craving cascade? Well, regular physical activity is one of the best ways to get your cortisol in check and give all that stress energy somewhere to go. Sleep is also completely non-negotiable. Getting 7 to 9 hours a night is just critical for keeping your hormones balanced. And finally, simple things like mindfulness, meditation, or even just taking 2 minutes to do some deep breathing can literally pull you out of that fight or flight state and kickstart the whole cycle of cravings.
So, the main takeaway from all of this is that your sugar cravings are not a moral failing. They are a biological signal. The next time that intense urge hits, I want you to try something new. Instead of getting frustrated and asking, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just have more willpower? I want you to pause and ask a different question. What is my body trying to tell me? Am I stressed out? Did I get enough sleep? Have I fed myself and my gut microbiome properly? When you shift from judgment to curiosity, you stop fighting against yourself and you start working with your own biology. And that is a war you can absolutely win.